What's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what I'm going to be doing is we're going to talk about a hot take that Austin Rivers, NBA analyst, has pretty much went out and said that it's got the entire NBA, but also NFL world talking. He had a take that was very interesting. I'll put it on screen so you guys can kind of see what it was. He was on the Pat McAfee show, kind of talking about some NBA players, or just kind of talking about some NBA news, and he said this.
He went on to compliment him, but if you just take clips, he's fragile. It's like, oh, he's called a bitch. Nobody wants to be called fragile.
Nobody.
No. That is the last thing you want to be called as an athlete, no matter how soft your sport is. You know, like basketball, and I'm a punter. So
you're slowly coming our way, though. I can already see it. You're getting more into it. Look at you. You're talking about the Cavs today. You're stretching out. We got to get you outside of that football lane, man, where the guaranteed contracts are, where the best athletes in the world are. That's us. I could take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
Whoa. And after that was said, a lot of shit started going down by him saying that the 30 NBA players could easily go into the NFL, and NFL players and former legends, former coaches, and even just NFL fans started coming at him, started saying, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Austin. And I'm going to say it up front, I am on that side with the NFL fans that we need to pretty much roast the hell out of Austin Rivers. So what I'm going to do is a few things. Number one, I'm going to talk about why the NFL players and NBA players, in my opinion, I don't think they should pretty much be able to cross over. They are amazing at their own sports. But what I do want to point out is the fact that NBA players could never come to the NFL. NFL players maybe could come to the NBA, but NBA players, the way they play nowadays, could never come to the NFL. And I have a few little articles here that kind of talk about some players from the NBA that could possibly go to the NFL and players that from the NFL that could possibly go to the NBA. And we're kind of going to go through, kind of pick and choose which players do I agree, disagree with. And then, like I said, just kind of give my opinion on what I think Austin Rivers needs to do going forward. Because goddamn, that was a bad take by him. But without further ado, I'm going to get straight into this. So if you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on this video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, now as you can see here, we have a bunch of NBA players that they're pretty much saying could go to the NFL, and players like from the NFL, like I said, could go to the NBA. Right here, we have a lot of NFL players that could possibly go over to the NBA. Now, one thing I do kind of notice with the list is a lot of players that they do have in here are players that did play basketball growing up, did play basketball, whether it was middle school, high school, or college. They played basketball at some point in their life. In some cases, as you can see here, CJ Stroud, they're taking him from the Celebrity All-Star game, where he went out there, balled out, put up 31 points. Now, I do realize that All-Star game, the way the points were kind of totaled and tallied, he realistically maybe scored 40, 50 points, but he wasn't going against some pretty good talent. But I mean, you go down this list, Cooper DeJean, rookie for the Eagles this year, Dan Skipper, Devontae Adams, he played basketball back in high school. DeJuan Jones, he was a big boy center, he played some ball. And the list goes on and on. You go down through here, a couple of Bengals in there, Garrett Wilson, Max Crosby, Micah Parsons, he could probably be a pretty good power forward. And then as you can see here, 11 NBA players that could play in the NFL right now from what they're saying. Anthony Edwards as a safety, wide receiver / tight end. I could see him maybe as a wide receiver because he does like contact. He's one that I could see translate. Next up, we got Zion Williamson as a defensive end or a tight end. Tight end, I could see. The problem is he gets hurt too much and just playing in the NBA. What's he going to do in the NFL when a dude comes out and just takes out his ankles? Everybody said the narrative about LeBron James all his life. He could have played tight end. He did play football in high school, I believe. So he could have played football. I just think with the way how his body is nowadays, no, not happening. They say Jalen Suggs is quarterback. I do understand that he was named Mr. Football for high school football. And he, as it says here, he had scholarship offers to Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan State, Georgia, and even Alabama. So that one I do understand. Here's the thing, though. That was offers to them. We've seen a lot of people, and I understand there's some players that do translate to college and then to the NFL. And if you're curious, right here in this article, like I said, link will be in the description for this whole article. It has this video here of his high school highlight. He was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. But there's been plenty of times we've seen players go to schools like Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, these big time schools like quarterbacks, and we never see them again. They get the offer to go to these schools, they sit the bench, and sometimes they play, sometimes they don't. And the ones that don't, you never see them again. The ones that do, it's a 50-50 shot sometimes if they're going to be paying out to go to the NFL and be a great, or if they're just going to be a bum. Going down the list, you got Aaron Gordon. I could probably see him as a middle linebacker. I'm not going to lie, or like an outside linebacker. They say tight end. I could probably see him as a linebacker. Russell Westbrook as a safety. That would be some scary, that would be a scary ass football player. I'm not gonna lie. Julius Randle as a defensive end, I could see it. A lot of these players, Kenneth Lorton Jr. as an offensive tackle would be big time. Look at the man size. That boy could easily be an offensive tackle. 6'6", 275 pounds. That's an offensive tackle. He might have put on a little bit more weight. Probably defensive tackle would probably make more sense. I understand that. Andre Drummond, I mean, 6'11", 280 pounds. He could very easily get up to 300 pounds. I think he was 300 pounds at one point, so offensive tackle makes so much sense for him. But now that that's out of the way, let me kind of just go through and lay out everything in my mind that's kind of making me understand and tell you that NBA players cannot get in the NFL and NFL players cannot go to the NBA. Or I would say this, NFL players could possibly translate to the NBA. NBA players cannot translate to the NFL. And let me kind of point out a couple of hypocritical points that I've seen a lot of NBA people trying to point out for why NFL players couldn't come to the NBA. They want to say the NBA, it's the best of the best. It's the best players in the world. Nobody can just step on an NBA court and be good. Just because you're 6'4", 6'6", doesn't mean you can walk on the court and be great. Newsflash for you, asshole. Just because you're 6'5", 6'6", 230, 240 pounds doesn't mean you can just go line up a tight end, go catch balls. There's a lot of things that go on with football. Number one, you might not think about this and you might think, oh, that doesn't make, that's not, that we're not going to talk about that. The playbook. NBA playbooks, they're probably that thin. NFL playbooks, like, have you seen those fuckers? Next up, the physicality. NBA players, they go up for a shot and you touch them on the pinky. They are screaming, like they're hollering at the refs, like, give me a fucking foul. In the NFL, you high point a ball, if the safety, if he sees you still in the air, he's gonna run over full speed and he's gonna truck you in midair, throwing you out of bounds. And what are you gonna get up and scream? Say, he hit me, like, bitch, shut the fuck up. This is football. And as you can say, oh well, you have the pads on, it'll protect you. No, I've heard Philadelphia Eagles offensive lineman Jordan Mailata. He played rugby in the past. He said on the New Heights podcast with Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey, those pads don't protect you. They almost make it hurt more. Like I said with NBA players, do you all remember a couple of months ago, I think I made a video on it, where NBA players, they were actually a new rule implemented into the NBA, where if you flopped, you were given a technical now. Could you imagine an NFL player, like a DB, offensive players, they can, like, wide receivers, they can't really, like within the 5 yards, they go up and they try to, like, take a defensive back and they just throw him to the ground. That could be called a hold on offense. Imagine a defensive back felt you grab his jersey and he just decided to just fake slip out from underneath himself, go to the ground, ref throws a flag for holding on the offense. That's like the equivalent of, like, an offensive player going to push off on you and you just, like, jumping off your feet and going to the ground and looking up around like, he hit me, like, fuck off. Now, so to some defense of what the NFL is going through right now, they've been going through some rule changes about trying to make it more safer, and a lot of NFL players, some hate it, some like it. Here's the thing with the NFL. It's still a very violent sport. Broken bones, broken ribs, torn muscles, concussions are off the radar these days. When you look at NBA players, they get hurt, they have a torn muscle or like a sprained ankle, sprained wrist, whatever it may be, they're out for like 3 to 4 months. You look at an NFL player, they have that same exact injury, and it's like week to week we're watching them and they could possibly be back in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, to Austin Rivers' point of what he was saying, where he was saying 30 NBA players could easily go on an NFL field, in his mind, I think he was thinking, oh, just go out there on the field, it'll be so easy to play. Remember something, NBA players have been training their whole life, they're always shooting the ball, they're always playing, they're always doing all these things. That's why they're in the NBA. And the same thing can be said for NFL players. Whether you're offensive tackle, defensive lineman, quarterback, receiver, safety, corner, linebacker, running back, whatever it may be, whatever your position is you've been training for since probably high school, even college. At least, let's say college, 3 years, high school, 4 years. So maybe you've played in Pee-wee in little kid age. You've been playing your whole life. Which is why I kind of laugh whenever he talked about, oh, NBA is like a whole different level of skill. You can't go in. I've seen plenty of people. There's some boys out in the streets that can step on a court, and I'm pretty sure they could cross over an NBA player with ease. And there were some analysts, I forget who it was an NBA analyst, I think it was on Fox Network, where they were talking about, oh, well, NFL players, they couldn't go into the NBA, but NBA players, like, who said they can't just be like a bench player and they come in every few minutes, maybe like on out of like 60, 70 snaps a game, they just play 4 or 5 snaps, just get a few reps in. Okay, so can we not say that there are some NBA players that play like 2 minutes a game on average, and they just sit on the bench the whole time? They barely get in the game. They average maybe 1 point the whole season. But yet, oh, they want to say only the best of the best play in the NBA. There are plenty of players that I see on that bench that never, and I mean ever, see the court. You tell me an NFL player couldn't just go over there, sit on the bench, and do nothing? Hell, an NFL player would probably be a better hype man than those NBA boys. But now to kind of wrap it up, here's my final points. Like I kind of said in the beginning, NBA players, I think they need to stay in their lane, stay in the NBA. NFL players need to stay in their lane, stay in their own league. Now, I am going to finish off by saying NFL is tougher than the NBA. NBA players, the fact that you have a rule for flopping, get you a technical, should kind of say the way of how, like, I guess you could say, mentally and even physically tough you are. And you can say all you want about, like, oh, this, I realize, this is a foul in the NBA. I realize it, I understand it. But the fact of this stuff being a foul kind of shows how soft you are compared to the way the NFL is. Like the NFL, in order for there to be a flag thrown, you gotta like take the guy by his jersey holding most of the time and throw it off at the lineman to the ground, or throw a defensive lineman to the ground. A roughing the passer used to be here in the past like 2 to 3 years whenever it was first kind of starting. It used to be you had to actually like shove the quarterback on the ground. Here lately they've had like the whack on the helmet, which is kind of stupid. I wish they would get rid of that. It's kind of making the NFL make my words look dumb right now. But as I said, no matter what you say, I've laid out some facts. I think NBA players, they could try out for the NFL. One thing I did see, I believe it was First Take for Shannon Sharp, he was talking about it. He said if NBA players were given like a full training camp, they could possibly, it would be a very, very interesting like episode to kind of watch of how these guys did. But the players I kind of gave to you, Russell Westbrook, Jalen Suggs, there's a couple of them in there. If you gave them a full training camp and you let them practice and you let them kind of get back used to football, they could possibly play in an NFL game. Would they get killed? 100%. But I'm just being honest, when I look at some NFL players, there is a few of them that you could put on an NBA court, and I guarantee they might be able to get you at least, 5-6 points? Hell, I see many players I see star players getting you like 4 or 6 points a game, and people talk about, man, that was a bad night for him. Hey, if I get 6 points, I would frame it on my wall, be like, I got 6 points in an NBA game. But like I said, NFL players, they are tougher than NBA players, and I don't see NBA players, he said 30, please, maybe 3. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have an opinion, do you think Austin Rivers was cuckoo for saying this? Not cuckoo for saying this? What side do you kind of sit on? Are you the side that says NBA players can play in the NFL and NFL players cannot play in the NBA? Are you on the side that NFL players can play in the NBA and NBA players cannot play in the NFL? Whichever side you're on, leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below. I'd be more than welcome to talk about you guys and kind of chat with you about it. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified so I can post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.